Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Brahma Mira Striparan Takare. Banu Shashi Bhumi Sito. Buddha Sha Guru Sha Shukra. Shani Rahu Keteva. Sarve Grahas Shantikara Bhavantu. Om. Om Hrim Shukraya Namaha. Om Hrim Gurave Namaha. Greetings and welcome to Cosmic Kev 100. This is your weekly astro video zine where we take the planets, the 12 houses, the 12 signs of the zodiac, and make sense of it, mainly according to tropical astrology, which is based on seasons rather than where the constellations are. But I do get into sidereal and Vedic astrology, Jyotish, where we have also the 27 nakshatras or lunar mansions, and things are more astronomically correct. So for most of us, that means our Western charts go back one sign. And I know people say that makes no sense, but it's not solar centric. It's mainly based on what kind of energy you have, your rising sign, what you put out. And then after that, your moon, what's your mental state, how the mind and the emotions work together. And so that's the understanding that I have. And this is for October 6th through the 13th, 2023. So let's get started. Now today, the moon is in the constellation of Gemini, and it'll move into the constellation of Cancer later on this evening. It's in a lunar mansion known as Punavarsu. Now Punavarsu is 3/4 Gemini, 1/4 Cancer. And we're in the Gemini portion today. And air signs in Vedic astrology are about karma. They're about connecting with people. It's Friday, it's a Venus day, this is a perfect day to be connecting with others. Punavarsu is ruled by a ruling deity known as Aditi, and she's considered to be the goddess of infinity. So there's just like infinite possibilities. Also, the symbol of Punavarsu is the archer in a lot of ways. And it's not Sagittarius, it's opposite of Sagittarius, of course, but it's ruled by Jupiter. And all the 27 nakshatras all have a planetary rulership to them, including the north and south nodes, Rahu and Ketu. So the Jupiter-ruled nakshatras are Punavarsu, Vishaka, and Purvabhadra or Purvabhadrapada. And they all are about leading us out of just pure materialism into spirituality and reaching towards the highest thing God wants from us. So with that said, one of the symbols for Punavarsu is the quiver. That's the abode for arrows, and the other one is the bow. When tension is released, there's a tension to what we're aiming for. And the other thing about Punavarsu is people influenced by this particular nakshatra tend to have nice homes, and they tend to like to travel and come back to a nice home. There's nothing wrong with that. And so repeated activity is also associated with this particular nakshatra. Like, I'm bringing you these videos pretty regularly. That's my Punavarsu, and it's hope that people will value my knowledge of astrology that I'm sharing and will support me with monetarily or in other ways that are positive by sharing this video. So I encourage you to share this video, subscribe, tell a friend. And we're going to do, now in Western astrology today, it's a Cancer moon. It is a waning moon. And when we have a water sign moon and the moon is waning, we say this is a good time to plant root crops. So if you're wanting to plant carrots or beets, garlic, something like that, this is a really good time to plant your root crops today. So, and it's Venus Day. Venus Day is about relaxing, resting in love, pursuing karma. And with an air sign like Gemini, Gemini in Vedic astrology is about the divine couple. It's about the relationship, and air signs are about connection. And so we see this also in Libra. This is a balanced connection. And in Aquarius, it's where we connect with the whole, connect with all humanity. In Western astrology, air signs are, it's a water sign today, which is about emotion and connection. And in Vedic astrology, emotion and connection are water signs. So they do kind of match in some ways, so either way. So in the Cancer moon, it's like, we think, who's our tribe? Who are the people we belong to? And what are we feeling? What's our home like? Those would be the things we would talk about today in Western astrology. And most of this who've been following me, this is Western astrology because I know that's what most of you understand. But I encourage you to look into Jyotish, look into Vedic astrology. There's a lot to it, and it has a universal chord to it that vibrates with, I think, more people and more situations from my own personal experience. And I know there's some great Western astrologers that do some incredible work, and my hat's off to them. But in Vedic astrology, it leads you to spirit. You have to have a prayer life. You have to have a faith. You have to believe in God. You can't just like go out there randomly like we're just set free and anything can happen. We use our spiritual intention to do good and not to harm anybody. With that said, sign by sign, in the Western tradition now, we'll go through your sun. And if you know your rising sun or moon, I think it's good to use those as well in this horoscope. So greetings, Aries, welcome to your horoscope. So Mars is in Libra, and Mars in Libra can bring about a certain amount of indecisiveness. But from my own understanding, Mars is going into Scorpio Wednesday evening at 9:04 p.m. So Mars moving out of Libra into Scorpio, which is more of its own sign. We associate in Western astrology Pluto and Mars with Scorpio. There's going to be sort of like a need to allow other people to have their power, and a need to be courageous about investigating spiritual matters. Now, of course, we're getting into Halloween, and some people really like to celebrate dark energy. I mean, darkness is to be celebrated as far as the womb. It is dark, and that creates birth for us. Darkness is to be celebrated in that we need sleep, we need rest. But when darkness is used to deceive others, that's not okay. That's where I get off. Now, Scorpio's key phrase is I create or I desire. When we're creating, we're not caught up in our desires. So being creative is the higher vibe of Scorpio. And for Aries, whose key phrase is I am, it's really the sign of affirmations and birth. Libra, Sun, this is about partnership this time of year for you. And that partnership stuff is probably going to intensify this week. Now, Venus went into Virgo, or will go into Virgo, rather, on Sunday at 6:11 p.m. So, Venus in Virgo is considered to be debilitated. So, we started it, so I have it there on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. And why is that? Because when we're really critical, it ruins love, it ruins relationships. And so this is also about taking care of your own appearance, especially in the workplace. You want to look a little better, make your workspace look a little better. That's what I have for you this week. Okay, so there you go. Venus and Mars, shifting signs this week. It's a big deal. Greetings, Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope. Now, what I say for you is now that Venus is going into Virgo, that's your fifth house. That's a house of love, being in the heart. So Venus in Virgo works fine for Taurus. Venus in Virgo is good. And Venus in Virgo is also kind of about loving nature and herbs and holistic things and sunbathing without your clothes on and, enjoying skinny dipping and things like that. And there's a more finicky, critical side of Virgo, but that does not help facilitate love. We don't want that to happen today at all. What we want is, a greater opening of the heart and using our own creative energy out there, Taurus. That's what's going to ultimately do it. Now, Mars moving into Scorpio this week, in your partnership sign. Sometimes in Western astrology, they say that the seventh house is a house of open enemies. So people are going to be honest with you. They might be a little bit pointed. And the best thing to do is really just say, well, I can understand how you might feel that way. Rather than be defensive, just say, oh, wow, I'm really glad you shared that with me. And if, there's an opening to bring about what's in your heart, not so much a defensiveness, but what you understand about your own behavior, then you can have a nice sharing that way, and it could actually lead to a healing and more intimacy. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. Now, your key phrase is I communicate. And we're, today, of course, Moon's in the second house for you, and so you want to speak your truth. Now, over the weekend, Moon will be in your third house, and that's also about communication. And so there's a lot to be said here. You might be dealing with family this weekend. I mean, generally speaking, Libra is a fun time for you because it's in the fifth house, and that's where your heart is. And, Mercury is moving forward in the fourth house, so you're conscious about how you're feeling right now. You're conscious about your parents, your family, whether they're with you still or not. And you're working on ways that you can express your intelligence and have fun at the same time. Well, greetings, Cancer, and welcome to your horoscope. So, yeah, this is about you today. This is about how you're feeling. And Libra is kind of a challenging time because it puts you in the home, it puts you in your emotions, it puts you with older family members, and it kind of affirms who your tribe is. And so, what kind of people do you hang out with? Are they uplifting? Do they believe in God? Do they believe in Jesus? Do they follow the Buddhist Bodhisattva principles? Do they have that reverence for faith, discipline, and consistency that Krishna talks about? I mean, these are the things, bringing your mind to a higher place, not to deceive. With Yeshua, when he says, I am the way, the truth, and the light, when he refers to I am, it is the soul. It is the soul that is the way, the truth, and the life. And you're an eternal being. He says in John that you're all like gods. And so this is like an important thing to consider here, is that we have the potential within ourselves to create and destroy. And salvation and a reward could come just by giving a cup of cold water to someone who's working really hard. It's not that hard. And the ultimate thing of like his teaching is judge not lest you should be judged, and that whatever you do to anybody else, whatever you do to these, the least of my brethren, that means, getting happy over, say, Donald Trump being in jail. I mean, we never rejoice over other people's pain, even if we disagree with them. That's just, you don't up your vibe by being against somebody. I mean, I guess you up your vibe as a Giants fan if you're against the Dodgers. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous, really, because it's like, no, we love everybody. In fact, we got to love the Dodgers too, because we wouldn't have anybody to fight with if we didn't have the Dodgers. So appreciate your challenges this week, is what I'd say. Greetings, Leo. Welcome to your horoscope. Staying in the heart. This weekend, most of this weekend, Moon will be in Leo. And so it's a really good time for you to just get in your heart and see where other people are in their heart, and celebrating that creative process. Having the willingness to do something, like that could be just like baking cookies for somebody and giving it to them. There's a spirit of generosity, and there's a spirit of like a kind father in Leo, and that can be demonstrated. Now, Libra time for Leo is about friends. It's about neighbors, and neighborhood decorations, what people are doing. It's interesting that people are spending more money and stuff on Halloween than they are on Christmas decorations. It's interesting to me. I mean, the weather's nicer, I guess, around Halloween time in the Northern Hemisphere overall. And we've all had ancestors that have died, and we all are spirit. But what really honors them is staying in the light, not being a devil. Staying is being a good person, and being like the saints, being Christ-like, being Buddha-like. Those are the things that bring about more love. Being like the Divine Mother, cares about everybody. That too. So I don't think that, maybe somebody will have a Divine Mother costume. I know it's kind of trendy to make fun of Jesus and make fun of Christians and things like that, but instead of like putting down and emphasizing the things about others that make us uncomfortable, why don't we find out what's good about them, what we can appreciate? And it does a click. It's like a mindset that there's more love suddenly, and there's more good things that I've noticed happening all around the world. Because I want to have more love rather than hate and criticism. Greetings, Virgo. Speaking of criticism. Well, Venus in the first house. So for Virgo, suddenly you're getting a lot more attractive. You're looking better. And there's just this peace that you're carrying with you right now. And that peace is just helping take you and guide you through all these situations, and there's just going to be this loving transformation this week that I see, and it's going to carry on even into the weekend, and you want to bring that with you. You'll continue to communicate intelligently. I know at some point Mercury is going to move over into Western Libra, and I think that actually happened yesterday, but I'm not completely sure. It should have. Well, it happened actually on Wednesday evening. So Mercury was in Libra. And so this actually gives you some intelligent things to talk about. And it helps you be considerate, giving compliments, bringing about a balance, and that's what Libra's about. It's that balance of light and darkness, and that's, seasonal astrology. That's what tropical astrology is. And so how am I bringing a balance in my life? And where do I need to give more? This is also where you can make some money too, so I think I'm going to see some more wealth come into Virgo this week. Greetings, Libra. I think I'll see some more wealth come to Libra this week as well too. Venus now is going to be moving into Virgo, 12th house. So, this could be, on a more mundane, tragic level, be loss of a relationship. Venus in the 12th house, like you need more sleep, I need to relax more. And so just kind of, on the worst, so there's female person that doesn't have your best interest maybe. And is doing things behind your back. That would not be good. But, you pray for that person and say that, hey, most things, see, people that operate in deception And behind people's back, there's a transformation when they're really called out on it, and there's a light put on what's not working. And this happens to all of us. We all have areas, myself included, that we're not completely open on. We're scared. We don't know how. We fear retribution, and we don't live in a patient society anymore. We live in a immediate fix society that has a cancel culture of just attacking those that don't match us. In fact, it's so weird. I think this a lot is from social media and all this stuff. Trust me, man, it's planned by higher up powers that don't always have the planet's best interest. Because together in the most humble places of love, we could create something beautiful. And they're all about genetically modifying food and depopulating, and they don't really give a flying F about any of us other than their own kind, the super privileged and wealthy. And they'll use all these little side issues like gender and race and all these things to keep us divided and to forget that we're all just souls in human bodies having a human experience while we're spiritual beings. All right. Well, here we go. Greetings, Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope. You've got the power. That's what happens when Mars goes in your first house. Suddenly there's just like, And your social skills have improved a lot. You're going to make a lot more friends. You're going to meet more people. Now, there's messages for you in dreams. Now that Mercury's in the 12th house, it's a good time to keep a dream journal. Things are coming to you through your dreams. You're in a dreamscape. Last night I had a dream, being in an airport or something with my brothers, and we're all going to go on a trip, and it was just like, it was interesting. But because of everything on computers, things weren't always working the right way, and they weren't the easiest. There's this whole thing, and I'll admit, I'm a romantic. I miss the simpler times, and I'm not sure if all this electric wavelength stuff is really healthy for us. And in fact, there's studies that say it's not. It can be really bad. In right doses, it could actually be healing, though, too. So there's a lot to think about here. Now, Scorpio, this is kind of a lay low time for you because it's the 12th house where the sun's going through. And, it's just kind of harvesting what's gone, and it's trying to make right because, in a couple of weeks, it's going to be your season, and you're going to be shining brightly. And so in order to do that, just paying your debts, making things right, that'll help. All right. Okay. Greetings, Sagittarius. Welcome to your horoscope. So Libra for Sagittarius is the 11th house. So it's a fortunate house. It actually can create wealth. It can bring auspicious, positive situations to light for you. That's what we want, ultimately. Now Jupiter's in Taurus. And so Jupiter is in your 6th house. So 6th house could mean if you're at a place like you're working in a restaurant or a factory, or you're a professional sports player, you're on a team, or you're in the military, or you're working in the government in some way with other people, better things are happening. Good things are happening. And, I'd say because Jupiter relates to the spiritual world, just saying a prayer before you go to work. God lives in the praises of the people. Starting a prayer with thanks. Oh God, whatever word you have for God, oh nature, whatever it is that leads you to the ultimate divine, thank them. Thank them for how wonderful life has been to you so far, that you still have breath and that you're able to give thanks, that it's not over. And for all the good things that have been done for you. If you have all your 5 senses, you can smell, you can see, you can hear, you can touch, that you can taste, all of these things, bringing gratitude, that's the whole Jupiter Sagittarius thing. Gratitude brings grace. And the joy of the Lord is your strength. Greetings, Capricorn. Welcome to your horoscope. Now, your key phrases I use. I don't always say the key phrase of the sign every time I do a horoscope, but here we go. Let's talk about Saturn. Saturn's in the third house. So that could be like you moved into a neighborhood that was really nice, but somehow people moved and it got a little jankier. You know, people that are the most vulnerable and the most weak aren't really being taken care of. And I'm not a socialist, but I do love national parks and libraries. I'll admit that. And I like it that, you know, there's fire department and police and EMTs, emergency medical people, to respond when things go wrong. You know, that's, and someone say that that's a form of socialism. It's probably, you know, that's a good form. You know what I mean? That's okay. You know, billions of dollars being given out to huge corporations who are already doing well. No, that is socialism too. That's horrible. That's horrifying. Using the military to hurt people that are poor and unfortunate. That's horrible. You know, that's a horrible form. That's also socialism, and that's horrible too. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, Capricorn. How are we using things? What is the ultimate utility? Are we bringing life? Are we bringing light? Libra time is where you are on the stage. You are performing. And this is your karma to the world. This is where you use your gifts to the world to either help others or hurt others. And so let's see what that role is. Let's bring that balance. Since you operate like a Libra at the workplace, it means putting things in balance, because Libra rules your 10th house. That's the midheaven. And you're more intelligent in the workplace now with Mercury there and the Sun. And so you can do some really bold, positive acts right now. So I'll exalt you to do that. Let's see. Okay. Greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. Also, Saturn ruled. Saturn in the second house. You know, yeah, we could add Uranus. You know, Uranus over there in Taurus. That would be your fourth house. So, like, keeping things settled at the home front, you know. You have to work on the electricity of your home. Electrical systems are sometimes ruled by Uranus. But you're an air sign, you know. Even though you're the bearer of water, you're far from being a water sign. You know, and at worst, you're cold and detached, you know, because you're just so, I know, so it doesn't matter, you know, and you kind of just shake it off, and you're with like a superiority complex, you know. Aquarians and Leos are kind of like a lot alike in just sort of opposite ways, and all of us are kind of like our opposite sign in some ways. So this weekend looks good for love, though, for Aquarius. You know, it's like kind of this nice romantic weekend with Moon and Leo. That sounds good. And Aquarius will also reap rewards by hard work. You know, Saturn in the second house. Also dealing with family difficulties and just being patient and honest. You don't need to be enemies with your family. Sometimes you have to be somewhat indifferent if there's been a lot of emotional hurt. But if you work on the healing, it blesses the ancestors. And, you know, in Vedic astrology, we consider this to be a time for ancestral healing between now and the new moon, when we, and then there'll be the 9-day festival of the goddess, you know. And these are all things about aligning ourselves with the more positive potential that we have and more appreciation for what God has given us. That's really what this all comes down to. And we do it with Ma Durga, getting rid of evil, Lakshmi, appreciating all the material and physical blessings we have, and Saraswati, you know, singing hymns, blessing God, you know, and feeling that blessing. You know, that'll be, you know, that comes further on. That'll be next weekend. But now it's time to kind of do that ancestral healing work. And you'd be surprised. And, you know, it's a good time for travel for you, too, with the Sun and Mercury in the 9th house. You could probably go places and do well with that. All right. Greetings, Pisces. Welcome to your horoscope. You know, when Saturn's in your first house, the big message is slow down. There might be some obstacles. There might be some detours. There might be some depression. There might be some embarrassment. There might be some hard work involved. There might be some exhaustion. You know, and this is where we really give ourselves self-compassion. We come to that. You know, we come to that place of self-compassion. Let's go. Neptune's there too. You know, and when Neptune was in Pisces the last time, and from like the late 1940s, early mid 1840s rather, mid 1840s to the early 1860s. A spiritual revolution. A lot of different philosophies, a lot of different thoughts, you know, came in that. I think the Nazarenes came out of that. I mean, Mormons were there. I mean, there was sort of different things, the Baha'i movement, different kinds of movements came out around then. Anyhow, what kind of movements are coming on now? I like the movement when like people of different faiths get together to say, hey, I want to speak out for families. I want to speak out for parents and their authority with their children. You know, there's something nice to be said about that. So I'm seeing people that were somewhat divided up in different denominations, different forms of even monotheism, have gotten together to say, hey, we want to support each other in the good right now. And we don't just want the government to tell us what to do. I think that's, yeah, that their basis has a lot more history than current governments. So that's kind of interesting. And so, you know, Pisces, you know, Jupiter is moving through your third house, so it's like make more friends and inspire better community, get to know each other. And one of the things like about social media and stuff that's been a drag is that you don't look at people in their face, how they react. So people, I've noticed people that normally face to face, they're good people, they become complete ugly monsters on social media. And this is really comes from a place where people don't feel they have enough power. And because we've, in our government and our society, we prioritize punishment over reward. We've put hate over love. We've got to heal that, you know, and it's really, a lot of that stems from feeling powerless. And so what we need to do is make the power of love more powerful than the love of power. I think that was Jimi Hendrix said that once, but I think I think he hit a chord of truth there. So all in all, keep everything at peace, keep everything chill. We're in this waning moon cycle. We're just kind of releasing and letting everything go. And we want everything to be as peaceful as possible before we get to this weekend, because, you know, we might be facing, it's an eclipse coming in the weekend after this, and there could be some heavy stuff that we have to face. And we want to do that with the most love, the most compassion, and the most truth and honesty and clarity. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said before, subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, the notification button. Please keep sending your comments. I appreciate you. I need you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Om Shanti, 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 Om Tat Sat. And may God bless you all.